We're back here at NAFB Convention at Trade Talk 2017, and I'm privileged to be joined by a face everybody recognizes and a voice a lot of people recognize, Max Armstrong, current president of the NAFB. Welcome to our show.
Thank you, Dustin. Appreciate being with you.
So you're getting ready to wind down your presidency here at the end of the year. As you look back on this year, Max, what kind of things are you proud of to see accomplished in the NAFB here?
I've been proud to see the members in action out of the field. I think that's the thing that really comes home to me time after time, to watch our members as they're at various events and to see how growers, farmers, and ranchers gravitate around them. It shows that there's still a huge, loyal following out there. That can't be said of all that's going on at radio stations in the country today. Sometimes, there's a station having a remote, and they advertise it on the air, and you go out there, and the disc jockey is sitting at a card table, and there's nobody around him. That's not the case with our farm broadcasters, because they're always in the field, they're always on farms in many, many instances. They're doing their job, but they're staying in very close contact with the people in the audience.
You know, when we looked at a study that came out this year from the NAFB talking about how the farmers are still trusting the radio broadcasters. Yes, we've embraced new technology. For instance, we're doing video right now, the social media aspect of it, but they still, sitting around the kitchen table or in the tractor with the radio, when you can't look through Twitter or Facebook while you're planting corn, you still have that voice you can trust bringing the information you need.
Trust is so important, and that comes through, for one thing, accuracy. That's our most important product, is bringing the story with accuracy. We bring it with frequency, with reliability, but there is also that relationship that we see so often. Farm broadcasters are at so many meetings, and they go into the equipment dealerships and the grain elevators and spending time in the combine cab. So there is that very strong relationship that is formed. Yes, we did some research on credibility and found that the credibility of the farm broadcaster, as he or she brings the news, the market information, the weather information, is higher than most of the national media. That includes the major networks, major newspapers, and magazines, as viewed by the farmers we serve. And that's a strong vote of confidence that we feel.
So as we look forward to the next year, I know you'll be, you're stepping down from the presidency, but where is your involvement going to be here going forward with NAFB to help kind of keep the business going and keep the organization going, I should say?
I'll still be here as a trusted advisor if anybody wants what advice I have to offer. I want to continue to support very actively our foundation, too. The NAFB Foundation does great work. Some of that is to help cultivate that next generation coming along. They won't all necessarily be farm broadcasters, of course. Many of them will go to work in advertising agencies, public relations agencies, farm organizations where they will be working for farmers and ranchers. Who knows what path they will take, but they'll have a little different perspective of agriculture and the people who serve it because of their experience through NAFB. And I think that's a worthwhile venture we need to continue to be a part of.
And as we get ready to wrap up, Max, I had the privilege of being on RFD TV with you earlier this spring, and you asked me a question, and now I'm going to return the favor and ask you. I know in Minnesota we're dealing with a lot of late harvest. There are still soybeans in fields in some places. What about in your neck of the woods? What kind of things are you seeing, and what are farmers talking about in your area?
A lot of standing crop, to be sure, and that's frustrating, especially when you get into the month of November. You want to have that task behind you. In early October, I was with a family, and there was a farm woman who's very much an active operator on her farm. She drives the combine every day. She said she knew at that point she might not be fixing the turkey on Thanksgiving, that she might very well be in the field. So it is one of those things that works on you a little bit when you're the farmer, and you're worried about that investment that's still sitting out there. You don't have it at the bin. You're watching every forecast with great interest because you're concerned about the wind that might be coming along, or the crop damage and the inability to pick up that crop in a timely manner. It's bad enough having low prices, but then to not be able to get all of the yield that you had, that's adding insult to injury.
I know. I think we're fortunate in Minnesota where at least at night this time of year the ground freezes, so if it's wet we can get out and harvest, but when you get into the mid part and the southern parts of the country you don't have that luxury, and it becomes very frustrating.
Many farmers haven't had a hard freeze yet, not even close to it. The first frost of the fall just occurred in Chicago in the past week. It was the third longest, quote, growing season on record in that area of northern Illinois in 147 years of record keeping. So, yeah, we're a long ways away from seeing firmness in the soils there. And many of those fields went in late, and they've been difficult to get harvested in a timely manner, to be sure. The governor of the state of Illinois put into effect a harvest emergency a few days ago. There's never been one. They've never had the law. They never declared it. But it was his recognition that, prices are low. It's been a very difficult season. Farmers ought to be allowed to load those trucks to a higher capacity so they can put 10% more weight on those trucks now during the harvest season for a limited period of time with a permitting process to get the job done.
And it helps when the government sees that need. I mean, in Minnesota, Governor Dayton also relaxed the regulations for truckers hauling propane and fuels because obviously the dryers need to run, and also with Minnesota getting colder, the heating needs to be done, and so he relaxed those in a temporary move to help relax things there too. So.
Governors don't always get it in some states, and that's why I think it's important to continue to have that channel of communication from farmers to their lawmakers, to those folks who are in the State House, and to make sure that they really understand. And I think that underscores the importance also of our farm organizations. That's my personal opinion.
All right. Well, Max, I thank you very much for taking the time to visit with us, and thank you for your service as president of the NAFB this past year.
Dustin, it's a real honor. Thank you for the privilege of being interviewed by you.
All right. That's Max Armstrong here on KLGR. We'll be back after this.